TGIF, everybody. Thank God it is flat. Thank God it's Friday. And thank God for Zachary Zabala. Welcome to the Flat Earth Friday Frenchcast, everybody. My name is Josh Corey. We've got a pretty good show for you lined up, provided Skype works. Skype has been a pain in my ass since I got home from work. But you know how Iron Realm does it. But we got our usual cast of characters. It's going to be a good show. Well, welcome back, everybody, to another Flat Earth Friday Frenchcast right here on Iron Realm Media. I want to give a quick shout out to everybody in chat. I don't even have the chat room open. I have no clue who's there, no clue who's not, but I appreciate everybody that is. Let's see. We'll just get our hellos out of the way before we bring in our guest. He should be joining any minute now. I have shared the link, so he may just pop in. I've got to get the heck out of here so I can go get my kid to work. So we're just going to do this real quick. Adam, how in the world was your holiday? You're back home finally.
Yeah, I'm back in the shed. I had a little test run today, hoping to take the pressure off you tonight, bruv, and let you guys chill out in the same room for the first time. It all went well. We had a little test. I saw a few people join in, and then went for me tea, and came back. Computer was off. Turned it back on, and just saw it smoking. So yeah, a bit of a disaster. Classic IRM this evening, I think it is again. So I know you've got a run, Josh. So I'll hand it back to probably. We're back with the host. The new host from Josh's basement, Zach.
All right. Well, hello, everybody out there. I'm here at the Iron Realm headquarters in the Midwest at Josh Corey's abode. This is cool. This is the first person I've met from the internet. And it was like meeting a brother. It was, there was no handshakes. It was all hugs, man. But yeah, I'm really excited to be here. It was a very antsy day. Just trying to get here as quick as I possibly could. And yeah, the road's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. I've been having a great time. And I'm just really excited to be here. Glad it's Friday and I made it here. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this whole weekend, really. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, this morning on the show, I said the first Iron Realm handshake, but of course I knew what I should have said, and I put it in the description, the first Iron Realm hug. I knew that. So, yeah, man, I'm so glad you made it. I could see the grins. I've been grinning since I saw you sitting there. So, yeah, glad to have you over there for sure, man. And can't wait to get you over here. And speaking of this morning, we had a great show over there. If you missed it, you need to go over there while it's still up for you to listen to for free over there on Truth Frequency Radio. We had Alan Holman from Alan Holman channel over on YouTube. Amazing guests, amazing topics. We covered it. If it was something to talk about, man, we talked about it this morning. So, and go check it out for sure. We'll drop a link sometime here. Once Josh gets back, he can put that in the description later. So, John, how are you over there, sir?
Oh, I was trying to stay quiet there. Well, yeah, no, I'm doing well. It's been the last day of the summer holidays where I've had the kids, and yeah, so that's been quite an epic 6 weeks of all ups and downs and in-laws and outlaws turning up, staying over, and yeah, so I thought I'd take the kids out for a lunch in a local cafe, so we went wandering around with the dog to try and whack him out before we got there, and got there at 2 o'clock. They were open till 4, and it was shut. And the other pub up the road stopped serving food at 2, so we were all really pissed off and disappointed. So we came home, I made sausage sandwiches, and then we went out for dinner instead. And I just had a massive 8-ounce sirloin, and I'm loving it. So I'm just sitting here chilling. over
So
to
you'll
you.
be napping through the show.
I
Brendon.
will. I will. But it's nice to see that Iron Realm are so hot we actually set our PCs on fire. Nice one, Adam.
Yeah, we'll have to show you guys that video here in a minute. That's amazing to see. I'm not gonna attempt the screen share because then mine will be smoking and sparking and
Yeah, I think it's quite amazing we've all actually made it here this evening after all the crap we've been going through. I just finished configuring this headset when you said hello, and I just pressed unmute. Look at that smoking. That's Adam's server, by the way. Is it your server, Adam, or is it a desktop? Oh dear, we lost Adam.
he's screen sharing. He may not be able to mute or unmute.
Doesn't look healthy.
I think that is the server, but I believe.
That's
And I could be wrong.
not a good sign.
No, that's never a good sign. Only if it was a vaporizer.
Yeah. Maybe he dropped some weed in it or something. So, who we got on? Or have we not given that away yet? You can't remember, can you?
I'm not even sure who it is.
It is Brendon Daley from the Future of Flat Earth Facebook group. That's who's going to be our guest today. He was recently on a podcast, and I've forgotten the name of it. It was basically a humor comedy type broadcast, but he handled himself pretty well, in amongst a bunch of people there to make jokes about the topic. So, and he's got some great content over there. I've seen some of the stuff, trying to play catch up myself these last couple of days. So the group has an interesting little questionnaire for you if you want to join it there on the Facebook. I'm sure if Josh doesn't have the link in there, yes, he does. It is in the description. I just checked it myself. So the link for Brendon's group is there in the description. Everybody in chat, when you have a minute, check it out. Go over there and see if you can't hop on and make the future of flat Earth brighter.
Yeah, we were watching that last night, weren't we? It was pretty good.
Guys, just a sec. There's no picture. It's just the intro feed. So, Zach.
Has that been the whole time, or is that just
Yeah,
now?
yeah. It's all the time. It's not changed. So, you got OBS there, Zach?
There's never been a picture there, is there? Let's not complicate things, eh?
Yeah, you don't want me to start pushing buttons on this thing. That's for sure.
You need the Skype screen up though. If we're going to share anything, there's only the Truth Fares No Investigation screen up.
Yeah, I've got you. Oh, good. You talking through that, and I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, I have no idea, guys.
Have you got OBS there? Yeah.
Yeah, OBS is here. I
Right,
see.
so you've got two windows,
Yeah, two windows.
and then the right-hand window is they're just the Truth Fares No Investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And what's in the left-hand window?
Same thing.
Right. So on the underneath it, on the left-hand side, it will say scenes. Yeah.
Yep.
Can you see one that says Skype?
No. Oh, wait. No. Now there's all kinds of other things. I see YouTube,
Click
but I
it.
don't see Skype. I'll click YouTube then. Now, if I
What
blow
else you got? Have you got
here,
presentation screen or out like that?
scene 2, transition, scene 3, screen
Try
share.
scene 3. Yeah, try scene 3.
Hey.
I know that guy.
Now go in the middle of the two screens.
Yep.
And press transition.
Look at that. Is that good?
Let's give it a sec, see what pops up.
Smooth like butter.
As always.
So let's start over, everybody. Rewind. Okay, so how is everybody out there now that you can see us again?
We can see the top of your head and the top of Zach's. That'll do. Right, Zach.
That'll work.
Whilst water fills, right, if you just keep scrolling through those different scenes and see which ones look pretty, and then you can look at them, it won't change what's on screen until you press transition to the one that you think looks the prettiest.
Nathan is helping us there in chat. Thank you, Nathan. Appreciate that. Everybody go over to Nathan Oakley 1980 channel after this, of course, and check that out. Hello, Jamie Brown. Hello, everybody in chat. I'm not going to start naming names. Shouldn't have done that because I don't want to miss anybody. You know we love you all.
I don't know. What do you think about that one?
Beautiful.
Still only seeing us, but it's got a border on it at least.
I think that'll do. So, Zach, fill us in on your last couple of days.
Oh, it's been awesome. Well,
You met some
last
nice
weekend-
people, didn't you?
yeah, I've met quite a few nice people, and then I have met some, I don't know how to say it, other road travel type people.
That's
I think
nicely
they were
put.
both 25. They were, for a better word, I wouldn't say nomads so much as I would just say panhandling drifters. Yeah, they were the type of people that they were walking to Texas, they said. I met them in Indiana. They had nothing. And yeah, I gave them some socks, t-shirts, pair of underwear, and they had like nothing. And then they'd go into town and they'd come back with like $40 10 minutes later. You know, I was like, wow, great. You guys can, get a little bit further. Then they go into town and they start buying alcohol and it's all this other nonsense and a bunch of cigarettes. And it's like, well, I'm not giving you a penny. I'm sorry. I don't mind helping you out with the things you need, but I'm not going to give you money to go buy things that you don't need.
You meet them
But
everywhere, don't you?
Some of the stories this kid was telling me, and I wish I would have videoed it. Duper's delight. After about half of the stories, he just had a perma-grin on his face, like, wow, I'm really pulling one over on this guy. But he was, I want to write a book about this one weekend, the stories that he was telling me. First, he's telling me that they do magic, all right, arcane magic. He said, don't worry, it's green magic. I was like, okay, I keep an open mind about things now ever since Flat Earth. I was like, okay, maybe, they're, and then they go on and he starts telling me more stories about how, well, he offered me some food and said that they've cut off people's hands in other countries for saying no. Yeah, that was okay. That's kind of weird. Then they start telling me that they're warriors of God. This guy, yeah, he's a warrior of God, and he fights demons. Him and his girlfriend, who had no front teeth. I think they were both addicted to something, for sure. And yeah, that's when I started getting a little, okay, I'm not going to say anything to make these people think that I'm a demon. I'm not going to question their beliefs. I'm not going to. I started on the flat earth a little bit, but then I was just like, nah, I better not even go down this road. I don't want them thinking that I'm a demon and they need to vanquish me or something. And then they end off the story, well, many of stories, saying that they are Adam and Eve reincarnated. Yeah.
Okay.
They're here to start the world over and this and that, and they have superhuman healing powers and superhuman strength, and he was looking at the bottom of his heel standing straight up 3 days ago because his ankle was turned all the way over, and it's 3 days later, and he was racing Hank down the gravel road.
Good grief.
Yeah, all the stories he was telling me, it was It was a very interesting first weekend, to say the least.
They
And I
must-
learned a few things. Like, don't tell people how long you plan on staying. Things like that. Just be very vague about where you're going. Be kind of vague about it until you kind of get to know them a little bit more. Because I told him, I would stay as soon as I met him. I was like, I'm going to stay till Monday. And I wanted to leave Saturday night, Saturday morning after I started talking to him. So they think he's packing up. Are they going to freak out and do something crazy? Or so I stayed till Monday morning, and I left before they were up. I was gone out of there by 6 a.m.
Yeah, it reminds me of travelling. You got to keep your gob shut, really, and be quite aloof. Otherwise, you'll end up giving lifts to people and just basically getting pounced off by people thinking
they
you're
asked
green.
for a ride. They asked for a ride, but my truck is so packed with stuff, and then Hank has the front seat taken up.
Good old Hank.
Yeah.
How's he holding up?
Automatic shotgun. Gets it auto. You said there was something I wanted to chat about because I've not had a chance to catch up with you, brother, about you. Did you camp at a star fort?
Oh, it wasn't a star fort. When I looked it up, they were showing a bunch of other pictures of star forts. And when I got there, it was Fort Kaskaskia in Illinois, right along the Mississippi River. It actually overlooked a big bend in the Mississippi River. Beautiful. I got a bunch of nice pictures from there. But I guess it was a Jesuit fort built in the early 1700s. And it was shaped like a star fort, but all you could see was like 4 mounds. There was no actual fort there. The fort was taken down. And there was 4 mounds. It looked like the very tippy top of a star fort. And like it might have been buried underneath it. But no, I don't believe it was a star fort. I'm going to try to hit some on my way down, though. I think there are a couple along the Mississippi. Don't quote me on that, though.
Shout out to Martin if he can send us anything for your travels, mate. He's be the man to know.
Yeah, it was beautiful, though. I've been staying at a lot of state parks and stuff like that. Indiana state parks and Missouri state parks are kind of the same. They just have roads that go through wooded areas. And then they'll have a little clearing where it's camping or this or that, and they all have trails. But when I was going through Illinois, now I only stayed at a couple state parks, but they were like city parks. You drove in and it was manicured lawns with all the trees were in straight rows. It just didn't look like a forest. It looked like a park you would see in downtown Chicago or something like that. So it's going to be neat seeing how different states handle all their different parks and whatnot. But I've got some amazing pictures, all different kinds of plants that I'm seeing down here. I've never paid attention to that stuff before, but it's totally different fauna, different animals. I actually have video footage of a large crane swallowing. It had to be at least a 10-inch bass. It fought this thing for a good minute and 20 seconds, sitting there the fish was trying to get away. And it turns it and then swallows it down whole. It's so cool. Yeah, Josh is going to upload that here for me. I have a video of a spider web, or a spider making his web.
I know, you tell me about that. I want to see that so much, man. As much as I don't love the little critters, they do some amazing work.
Yeah, it was so neat watching that. And lots of mushroom pics, you're going to love some of the tree pictures I got, Walt. Some of these trees,
Awesome.
it looks like you could talk to them just by looking at the picture. Yeah, it's been awesome so far. It's been better than I expected it would be, for sure.
So where are you at the moment, and where are you headed? You're headed over to Walter.
Yeah, I'm at Josh's up in Missouri right now, and then I'm going to be heading down Missouri through Arkansas, and I think there's one more state in there above. I'm not even sure.
I think above Arkansas, yeah, you'll pass through. Oh, wait, is it that way? I'm not sure which way you're even going, so I don't want to lie.
Yeah, I'm just going to head straight down the Mississippi and head towards you. stopping in. And I actually met a really cool guy last night. He's going to be staying. I was staying in southern Missouri last night. He's going to stay down there all weekend to let the holiday go through, so he doesn't have to be traveling during that. But he's been traveling for 2 months now. He just sleeps in his car. He's got a chair that he brings out. He reads a lot of books. We chatted for a good hour and a half, 2 hours last night. He's from California. He did this for 4 months last year. And then he's on his second month right now. And he wasn't really sure where he was going. He's just going to see the country, he said.
Excellent. That's really
How
cool.
far is it to Waltz? From there,
From
then?
here? Oh, probably
It's-
600 or 700 miles.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was thinking it was about 8 myself. That's probably more accurate what you're saying.
Well, it's about 900.
I know we've checked before.
Yeah, it's 900 from northern Indiana. So, I don't know. 6,
So how
7
long do you plan
there.
for that to take?
See, that's the thing. I thought this one was going to take me a lot longer, but I've noticed with a lot of these campsites and stuff, you get there and the things they say, the price will be different, and amenities that they say they have, they don't have. I actually left a place, not yesterday, but the day before. I did about almost 200 miles that day, and I never planned to do that many. But it was raining real hard all day, so I just kept heading west to try to get past the storm. And I found a place that said $10 and free Wi-Fi and, the showers and all the good stuff. And I get there and she says $20 and she gives me the Wi-Fi password and it doesn't work. And she's like, well, that's the only password I have. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to come get my money and I'm going to leave then. Because I'm not paying 20. And I was going to pay the 20. I gave her the 20. I was like, well, it's raining anyway. It's spotty right now. It stopped for a little bit. I'll just set up 10, and I had electricity there. I was going to do a live stream all day from there. But then as soon as they said they had no Wi-Fi, or they had the Wi-Fi, I could pick up a full bar signal, but this place didn't know the password to their own Wi-Fi. So I was like, okay, I'm getting out of here. And I went even further, which was a good thing. I stayed at a state park in Illinois, and I was the only person there. That was kind of weird. It was quiet and peaceful, but acorn would drop and I would wake up. Yeah, I sleep better when there's a couple more people around. I have plenty of protection and stuff like that. I just wouldn't want to have to use it.
No, probably a good idea.
Going off. Yeah, it's been better than I expected it could be. Being around nature and going to sleep when the sun goes down, and it's really, I don't know, you can't really explain it. It's how we're supposed to live, I think.
Sounds pretty natural.
Yeah, I'm getting back in tune with, I'm noticing more things. Like I was walking through the woods yesterday and I noticed a snake laying there all coiled up. And I guarantee a few years ago, I would have walked down that trail and I wouldn't have noticed any of that stuff. I walked into so many spider webs. I'm learning, if you're the first person to hit the trail in the morning,
Yes, sir.
you really need to watch for spiders. I had them all over my shirt, had a face full of spider webs.
I've learned that just walking down the sidewalks and the streets here in this little rural town of mine. I'll catch a face full if I don't think about it, taking off to go walk early in the morning. So, oh yeah, anywhere that's a nice little opening, they're going to string it up for you for sure.
So I'm doing it wrong then, Zach, when I go to bed when the sun comes up. Well, it should be the other way around. Damn. 40 plus years of doing it wrong.
Well, as long as you have it one way or the other. You don't want to go to bed halfway. Okay.
Mornings and afternoons are meant for sleeping.
Oh, I got me my first nap in since I left today. It was so nice.
Oh, it's those hot afternoons. That's when it's snap time. Siesta, man.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep Hank there for the first week. He is having a rough time getting, because he always had a big country yard where, you know, from where he was for at least 40 feet away, he would bark at anybody that got close to let them know that you're not allowed to be in this area. Well, now his area went from 3/4 of an acre down to, you know, 30 foot by 30 foot, your tent area that you get. So he sees people walking by, and he was just freaking out for the first couple nights. And now he's finally getting it. He'll see people now, and he doesn't bark real loud. He just kind of lets me know. He does the little woof, woof, woof. Hey, there's some people over here. Yeah, he's getting...
That sounds like me trying to teach my dog who's a neighbour and who's not, who to bark at and who not to bark at. And yeah, he's getting into the little woofs now, and when he's not quite sure. And, I'll tell him whether to bark or not, whether it's a delivery man or anyone in a fluoro vest or anything like that, or anyone who's got a tag around their neck who's walking up the path. I'm like, yeah, speak.
Get him.
Yeah, it's funny. They do get used to it though. So Adam, tell us about your holiday then. Did you get any of those snaps you were looking for across the, what is it, the Adriatic? Or?
I went up the mountain once. Mate, but it was too cloudy. I'm going to have another look at them ones I took at Easter, I think it was. I think they were a lot crisper. No, so a bit disappointing really, mate, but in terms of that, but other than that, it was beautiful. You're saying just looking at nature, Zach, I was just wandering around, you know what I mean? Just doing the same sort of thing, just chilling, looking at the plants, watching the lizards scurry off. Do you know what I mean? It was just, nice and relaxing.
You think it's something about flat Earth realisation or something that does this to us? Because it's almost universal from what I hear, and I can speak for myself as well. You notice an awful lot more. You're just walking around, and you know, whereas before you'd look at the ground to make sure you weren't treading in dog turds or something. Now you're looking at the horizon, looking at clouds, looking at trees and birds, and I barely take my headphones out anymore. Whereas before, if I'd got halfway to the fields and forgot my headphones, I'd walk back and get them. Now I just don't bother anymore. I'd rather sort of listen to nature, and I suppose I've got the dog, and I have to communicate with him every second. But I don't know. Do you think it's some sort of flat Earth thing that you start realising and appreciating the Earth around you?
Or just getting old.
And gay.
You know what I mean? No, do you know what I mean? I think it's just, it's not that big a step. I think flat Earth helps you realise there's a lot more things than the triviality of civilization. Do you know what I mean? And the system we're in. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, maybe it does make you stop, or give you a reason to pause and stop and start to enjoy them again. Like I say, I got back this afternoon and just wanted to tidy my garden up as well. I know. Do you know what I mean? It was somewhat impulsive. I wanted to just do tidy up and then chill out. I didn't do it in silence though, John. I did have YouTube on blaring, just pottering as well. But yeah, it was, whether it's age or flat Earth awareness, or just it is something I take a lot more pleasure in now.
I think it's looking for clues as well. It's just realising that there are so many evidences around you that are observable, that prove and point to the Earth being flat and stationary, and you're just sort of continually kicking yourself that you'd never noticed it before. Silly things like moon temperature and stuff. I mean, it just didn't occur to me to even think to measure it. probably because I've been put off by mainstream science saying it's immeasurable and you'd need $1 billion measuring machine to measure it. But yeah, just little things, you know, seeing that the clouds are they don't dip, you know, they don't curve away from you. They're sort of on level sort of strand. I don't know how to describe it, but I don't know. I think it's
What's really frustrating, John, is I've watched and looked at and lived with my eyes on the sky my whole life, literally since I was a child, and saw things, questioned like, what the hell, how's that happening? The moon's circle around, you know, the cloud ring around the moon, things like that. And never could get past the programming, the science programming I had throughout school that I loved, you know, loved it. And yeah, just there it was all the time right in front of our faces.
Well, that's it. I mean, you never question it because you don't really have a reason to question it, do you? But then when you find out almost everything you've been told is a lie, then you really do have a motivation to question everything now. You know, everything. I mean,
I think more and more people are questioning, aren't they, though? I was listening to YouTube, and I don't watch TV, but there's Celebrity Big Brother of, I think it's MGTV's feed. Have got a bit of Celebrity Big Brother, and they're chatting Flat Earth, and I think Flat Earth's getting more and more known by the public. As we've always said, it's getting the ridicule highlights, but more and more people, if it's on that, I think it was Jermaine Pennant, who I know because he was a Notts County player, so, and then went off to be famous and then nearly made it being famous, but chatting well about it. And I think it's getting more and more mainstream, and I think more and more people are waking up and challenging some of the bullshit. I think it's...
And was he talking sense about Flat Earth, or was he sort of saying, you know, I drive my car so I know it's flat? Oh, you can if you think you can get away with it.
It's on MGTVs, so it's only playing his for criticism and etc. Legal disclaimers, you know. Let me see if I can get it. No, not. So,
because I saw that new debating channel that Josh put up, that was sort of debates settled by reason or something or other, and they had quite a lot of flat Earth related topics on there.
Can you see that?
Yes. I don't know if they can, but I can.
I can also hear a wicked echo.
I'm sharing screen and sound, so it might be that. So just
Mute yourself.
I can see it. Right, I'll press play because I can see it now, so it should work.
Earth round. Yes. Why?
Is it a circle or is it not?
Hold on a minute. Of course it's a circle.
It's got to be, isn't it?
Well, gravitational pull is universal. How else?
Do you know when we flew flat, I don't mean flat like a piece of bread. I mean more curved round, not a big circle. It's more slight curve.
And you believe this, Jay?
Well,
Then why don't we fall off the edge? Because NASA stopped us falling off the edge.
well,
What is NASA?
You are not allowed to fly certain parts.
What is NASA?
Where are you not allowed to fly?
Like you can't fly to Australia in a certain route.
Okay, so Jay, there are certain routes you can't fly because of...
No, yeah, I just read it. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And there's a guy explaining it, a science guy, you know, a lot cleverer than me. So, yeah.
If you undermine the notion of the Earth being flat, you undermine the entire notion of the cosmos as it exists. And
Say what?
if you question the notion of the Earth being flat, you question the entire interplanetary system that Copernicus discovered.
If the Earth was a circle,
The globe.
globe, whatever you want to call it.
Well, why don't we fall off the edge?
If you was to see a telescope, there's a powerful telescope.
Yeah.
The Earth should dip
Yeah.
every 2 miles.
Yes.
You look for a scope, and it just goes on and on and on and on. Open up your eyes.
That's it. If Jermaine said it, it's got to be true.
Absolutely,
the
Jack.
world's flat.
Don't be fickle. Open your eyes and get on YouTube.
The world is flat. Look, at the end of the day, if it was round, I'd be walking. I'd be going like that now.
Well, you would if you were maybe 200 meters tall. You would.
Just YouTube it.
Jermaine said it, it's got to be true.
Sure.
I don't lie.
Jermaine ain't a liar.
Yeah. Interesting. I wouldn't put them up as flat Earth ambassadors, but at least it's being discussed, I suppose. The key thing is look on YouTube. Do your own bloody research. Better still, get out and test it for yourself. Stop believing. Have you unmuted yourself, Adam?
Have we been joined by the guest?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, there he is. How you doing?
What's going on,
Brendon?
guys? Good, man. How you guys doing?
Oh, wonderful.
Good to hear you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Hi there,
I've
mate.
watched some of your stuff. It's pretty awesome what you're doing out there.
Thank you, man. I really, really appreciate that. You know, it's when people say things like that, it actually gives me the drive to keep going. So I really appreciate that.
It's Brendon, is it? It's John Savage here.
Yep. Hey, what's up, John? Yeah, it's Brendon. Yep.
Brendon Daley, and you're from the Future of Flat Earth.
Yep.
I was going to say channel, but it's not channel on Facebook, is it?
No, it's a group. It's a group, Facebook group. Yep.
Yeah.
About 12,000 people there.
Oh well, welcome along. I was watching your own recording of your interview on. Was it? I take it was a radio show.
Yeah, it was iHeartRadio down in Fort Myers, Florida, right next to Naples, where I was staying.
Right.
It was a comedy show, but it's also a big show. So when you're, out there doing Flat Earth, any type of exposure is good, even if it's people coming there to, for a comedy show or whatever. As long as you can get your voice out there, doesn't really matter how you do it,
Yeah, it's a shame it stopped where it did. I was getting right into that. I was listening to it, and they're not going to air it until September, is it, or sometime?
Yeah, it's going to be mid-September. I honestly didn't want to get the whole radio show on the live feed anyways, because we're using a lot of the footage and the interview, or the debate, I guess you could say, is what it really turned into. We're using that for episode 2 of The Future of Flat Earth, which is a documentary. It's a 12-part documentary that we're doing, and we're on episode 2 now.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's pretty cool. So it kind of just builds up the suspense, and we're gonna attach the link to episode 2 so you can get the full interview and stuff like that. And yeah, it's pretty gnarly stuff, man. Couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. So you had a friend who's on the iHeart Radio team?
Yeah, yep. He's a big comedian down in Naples, Florida. He does a lot of touring. His name's Chris Machado. He's going to the Last Comic Standing competition, and he's doing big things down there. Good friend of mine. We used to work in marketing together about 10 years ago, and we just became best friends, and he went off and did his own thing and ended up, following his dream for comedy. And I got an opportunity to go down there and do the iHeart Radio program, and we kind of switched it up from comedy to some pretty real shit. So it was pretty cool, man. It was worth the flight. It was worth the trip down there, everything like that. Not a big Florida fan, but definitely happy we got to do it. So.
That is cool. I mean, and kudos for him for backing you up, at least to a certain degree, and shout out to him for his comedy as well. Good stuff.
Yeah, Yeah, it got pretty nasty towards the end.
I'll
you know
bet.
what you saw with me. I stayed pretty calm and collective the whole time, but two of the hosts, it got pretty loud inside that studio. We'll just say that.
From the small section I saw, I don't know how you didn't face plant that guy next to you into the table, but yeah, kudos to you too.
Well, you know, in the flat Earth community, it's a pretty tough community to be a part of. If you don't keep your composure, you know, I grew up and I'm an Irish guy, and I grew up, you know, tough city and stuff like that, and I need to realize that when I'm live and if it's debate or anything like that, I got to keep my composure, because that stuff will come back to bite me in the ass later. So it's
hard work, yeah, and I've got Irish background as well, and that's generally why I try and stick to Twitter, where I sound reasonably rational, and because every time something comes in and I'm just like, rah, and I just disappear to the shed, have a quick smoke, and formulate a what would they say, a superior answer, and come back and sound it. But on here, it's can be no holes barred. So yeah, I bite my lip quite a lot.
I had the pleasure of listening to that little bit. The guys, Josh shared it with me last night when he got back, and I thought he did. Oh, hi, it's Adam, by the way.
What's going on, Adam? Pleasure to meet you, sir.
And you too, pal. Yeah, I thought you held yourself exceptionally well, especially with the tirade of topic switching, mate. In that 15-minute clip we shared, I thought you did an exceptional job, mate. You were polite and well informed as well. So
I really appreciate that, man. All the feedback I got back was all good. You know, everybody just saying, hey, they want to kill the guy next to me. But other than that, they said I did a pretty damn good job. And the cool thing about it is when I flew down there specifically for that interview, you know, obviously to spend some time with my friend and stuff too, but that was like the big thing that I was trying to get done. So I was all nervous and stuff. Well, not so much nervous, but I wanted to get it out of the way and kind of move and just enjoy my time while I was down there. And I had been up when you guys see that interview. I was on my 25th or 26th hour up straight, because there was I don't know if you guys are familiar with a comedian, Larry the Cable Guy or something like that, but like one of the people one of the people that he's producing a album for, like a comedy album for, they were interviewing him first. This guy, Tim the Dairy Farmer, who I got to hang out with for a couple days. So, you know, definitely want to give a shout out to Tim the Dairy Farmer. And so he was doing an interview first, and I wasn't even planning. I actually called it off that night, and I said, hey, just give me a couple days. Like, I'm on my 25th hour. We just came back from the comedy club. I had, you know, 2 layovers flying down here. I mean, it was a long day. And then they came back out and they were like, hey, man, we're going to do it tonight. You're on. And I was like, you know what? Something just came over me. I was like, let's do it. So when you're watching that, I'm on my 25th hour awake at that point. So it was pretty gnarly stuff.
It did sound like you
did
got
wonderful, though.
Got your second wind, didn't you?
For sure.
You know, that's what happened.
And hey, I'm Walt, by the way. Glad to meet you.
Walt, how you doing, sir? Pleasure to meet you as well, man. Pleasure to meet you as well. But it was. Go ahead, man.
How much you think is character and radio trying to drive listeners, and how much of that guy is that much of a jerk that was there next to you?
Well, you know, that's a really good question, and it brings up a really good point, because Flat Earth, and this is a perfect example of the programming and how we're all that Mr. Smith, that you can even take a comedy hour on iHeartRadio that's literally, I mean, if you listen to the material of those guys, they're hilarious. It's all fun. And when you're hanging out with them, it's all fun. You know, I got the pleasure of going out with them. You know, we went to the bar a couple nights. We got some food. And they're just fun and funny all the time. And that just shows you how deeply programmed people are, that even on a comedy hour, you bring up Flat Earth and it changes everything. And it might be the only topic that literally changes everything. We could have talked about Bigfoot and laughed for hours about it, but we brought up friggin' Flat Earth and everybody loses their fucking mind, you know. And it's really something cool to see. Like, I actually sit back and I like to watch and see how people react to that. And sometimes I'll go up to random people and just be, all right, I'll bring up Loch Ness Monster, I'll bring up Bigfoot, and they'll be like, yeah, I kind of believe in that. And then you bring up flat earth, and they're like, whoa, they don't even want nothing to do with you at that point. It just shows you how deeply our brains are programmed to believe or to be a certain way. And it's pretty gnarly to watch, man, when you actually see that you can change a room of 3 of the funniest comedians into like literally like people want to kill each other, and flat earth might be the only topic that does that to people.
That's why we love it. Nothing slaps you in the face other than a flat earth conversation, that's for sure.
Yep, 100%.
Hey, Brendon, it's Josh here. Sorry, I was late getting in.
What's going on, man? Hey, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. Good communication with you leading up to the show tonight. Really appreciate it.
It didn't feel like it, but it feels like I've been running around with a chicken with its ass on fire since I got off of work. Nothing's really fell into place like I'd hoped it would, but here we are. I'm glad you made it nonetheless. So just welcome.
Thank you.
You're sounding a bit more relaxed there, Josh.
Yeah. Not as relaxed as I'd like to be. I still got to get my headspace right, but
Yeah.
at least I got sun out of the picture, so I don't have to have that on my. So just checking things off my list.
Well, Zach's been doing a sterling job. He's even managed to transition the
Get
page.
some production, yes.
Hats off.
That's what I like to hear. So, Brendon, I don't know. I know you just got in here probably a few minutes before I showed up.
Yep.
So I just got to listen a little bit. So tell everybody a little bit. I know we've been talking about your iHeartRadio interview that you just did.
Yep.
We got to see just a few minutes of it. And unfortunately, we're not going to get to hear it until iHeart decides to release it. But
Yep.
I guess that makes sense. I'd do the same thing if I was them. So I dig it. So let's talk a little bit. Did I hear you say on that little snippet that we heard that you've done other interviews? Is that what I heard?
Yeah. I don't know if I had said that, but I have done well, not so much interviews, but I was a co-host on a radio show, therealnewsonline.com. Definitely give a shout out to those guys. It's Brian Stavely. He's doing the new co-host is Paul Knight. So I did a weekly radio show with them. Really hardcore. I mean, these guys get into like the deepest of the deepest rabbit hole type stuff. So I presented a lot of my work there, but other than that, besides the Real News Online, the iHeartRadio and a few small things in between. But other than that, honestly, I'm usually on the other end interviewing people because I like to pick people's minds and stuff. I've had Marines that have come out. A good friend of mine is a retired sergeant in the Marine Corps. And he was in like one of the initial pushes into Iraq. It was like 2003-ish, I believe. And, he came out and, obviously a lot of these soldiers, like, they what it is they're very young and malleable. So it's not their fault that they get pushed into this agenda or whatever. So I don't blame any of them. But he now looks back and realizes it was all a lie and stuff. So I like to find people like that and like pick their brains and stuff. So I go live a lot on the Future of Flat Earth, and I tend to like, interview people and get inside their minds and stuff. And then it's kind of, the tables have kind of turned now and people are just starting to do it to me now. So it's pretty cool being on both sides of the spectrum for sure.
That's awesome. So that was one of the other things I wanted to talk about was your Facebook page. It seems to get some pretty good traction in there.
Yeah, the personal page or the group, the Future of Flat Earth.
The Future of Flat Earth.
Yeah, man, it's growing. The group's only about a year, over a year old. I think it was a year in June or April, May. It was about May or June where it hit the year mark. But the group grew faster than most groups do on Facebook, and it's become a very unique style because these flat Earth Facebook groups, I mean, it's like the new thing. There's nothing like I'm a member in other groups on Facebook and stuff, but there's nothing like a flat Earth group. I mean, you got the trolls, you got the arguments, it literally has all the bliss of a Facebook group, and nothing compares to a Facebook group like that has a topic of flat Earth and the Future of Flat Earth. I surrounded myself with admins and moderators. I mean, you go right down the list. I mean, we got scientists, we got mental health professionals, we got land surveyors, we got engineers. And that's the thing about, flat Earth is like, these aren't fucking dumb people, man. These are smart, ass people, and you think of flat Earth, and you immediately think to yourself, oh, those crazy religious people or whatever. But the reality is, they're some of the most educated people you'd ever meet. They just can deprogram themselves, by whatever blessing it was that got them to break free and free their mind from the lies and stuff. So I surrounded myself with a really, really good core of people for that group. And the group has its own identity, like all the admins, and they use hashtags, and you can search each admin by hashtags. And we've done shirt giveaways, hoodie giveaways. I'm constantly going live, and I don't just like to make videos and edit them. I like to bring the audience along with me, so they can see. I like people to see things raw, because that's science at its best, is when you're actually looking at it raw. And it's definitely a different group, and it separates itself from a lot of the other flat Earth groups. It's in my heart, man. That group's in my heart. I'll never not believe in the future of flat Earth. That's for damn sure.
Well, it certainly sounds like you've been busy. It sounds constructive as well. I've never really been a Facebook person, but from the name of the group, the future of flat Earth, what do you think, or have you come to a conclusion of what the future of flat Earth is?
I have. It's a really, really good question, because a lot of flat earthers, they'll go into like the biblical, we're living the revelations right now and stuff like that. I tend to not. I believe in the Bible. I do believe it's DNA based. I do believe there's so much truth in it. I don't sit here and I don't associate or label myself as any type of religious Christian, Catholic. I don't label myself as anything, but I do believe that there is some truth, or a decent amount of truth that flows through the words in a lot of these, ancient scriptures and stuff like that. As far as like the future of flat Earth, maybe I've convinced myself that I don't believe that, God would destroy where we live, and that, I tend to believe that we're going to go through a 1 year to 2 year period of, tribulations, but I think we're going to move into a more utopian society. I don't, not that a utopian society is the greatest thing, but it's damn well better than a monetary slave system that we're living in right now. And I think once that truth comes out, because right now the flat Earth, the people that believe in flat Earth now, right, we're the anomalies of something, and it's only about 5-10% is usually the anomaly stage, and then it kind of breaks free and gets a little bandwagonish, and then 15-20%, and then next thing you know, it's the truth. But when it's the truth, what are the elite going to do at that point? Do they have the power to really control us? Because right now they only have power because we let them have power. They don't have power for any other reason. They have power right now because we're allowing them to have power. We're allowing them to use money, and something. Money is literally just a paper rectangle. It's fake. It has no value anymore. And I just feel like, what are they going to do? What's their move at that point? Can we get the numbers up in time to overrun them and say, hey, listen, we all know it's fucking bullshit now? Or are they going to try something? There's a lot of things like Project Bluebeam. If anybody hasn't looked into it, look into it. They're talking, it's about fake alien invasions. Who knows what drastic move they're going to pull? But in my sense, I honestly believe that we're just going to move into a more utopian society over the next 5 to 10 years, and the dollar is going to crash, and you better get your hand skills ready, because trade's going to be, the only thing that you can barter with at that point. But yeah,
that's a pretty good answer. Question. Yeah, it is a tough question. It's pure speculation, right. But that's a pretty good answer there. I think you're in pretty good company here as well on the religious front. We take the meat and spit out the bones as much as possible, really, and I sort of tend to agree. But do you think, that the elite haven't pulled the trigger yet because they can't, in terms of there's too many humans still in charge of operations that would refuse to do what they're being asked to do, but once it's sort of like a race to around the toilet bowl to where they can have some sort of AI Terminator army force that doesn't have morals. Do you know what I mean? It's that they could either be transhuman or even fully sort of robotic. I think that's mainly what has stopped them. I wouldn't have any doubt that they have the capability of wiping us all out in the space of a year or whatever, but the human factor that's involved is probably what's preventing that. I don't know if you got any thoughts on that front.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think about that all the time. And the sad thing is like I have truth-seeking friends that are like huge into like the robots, and like we got like iRobot. It's a company that's like 30 minutes down the road from me, and they're developing these robots that can literally, you know, not think for themselves, but they're getting pretty damn close to being able to do that. And as far as like them having the power to run us over, I honestly don't believe that they do, because if you look up or not look up, but if you see these fires and stuff, and you see these DEW weapons that are, you know, they're melting fucking cars, you know, and they're saying it's forest fires. So they have weapons that they're trying out on us right now. I mean, you literally see cars in the aluminum of the wheels is dripping down the road, and then all the trees are fine, you know what I mean? And it's just real trippy, and it's like, okay, they're trying out their weapons right now, and they're seeing how we react to it.
Someone shared a picture of some towers that they just saw put up in Houston, Texas. I'm going to try to find it and show it to you guys. Hang on one second. It really speaks a lot to what's going on in California.
Well,
right?
well, when I was in Italy, they had that bridge go down, and I didn't. Like I say, I've not been doing a lot, but I saw one German feed where it was in German, so I asked my wife to roughly translate, but they were saying they was using some crossing of beam technology that destabilized the bridge. I'm not sure, was it Genoa or somewhere? And the bridge collapsed and killed quite a few people on it. You know, it was a motorway bridge.
Wow.
And
I get what you're saying.
This kind of technology as well, you know, beam technology, that whether that's how they're melting cars or toppling bridges, etc., with, you know, no need for explosives.
I mean, I see it a lot more simply. I get what you're saying about the overt weapons, but what I see is a whole matrix, if you like, of covert weapons. I mean, I'll give you three mainly: money, drugs, and TV or electricity. If they were to turn the TV off, we'd be killing each other within a week or living the utopian life. But if they were to turn the money off, likewise. I mean, they can literally, you know, turn your social security number off and privately kill you without anyone even knowing around you, sort of thing.
You were implying there, not just that, but how low are they prepared to stoop to maintain that power in terms of the technology and the enforcement? That was the point I was more responding to. You know, that how desperate will they act?
Well, I see it in we're in the phase of the control. We're in the control phase. So they give us all the goodies, like junk food and feel good, happy pill, pharmaceutical mentality, and our TV, our internet, our Wi-Fi, and everything else that goes along with that. And at some point, I mean, it wouldn't take any more than one human to pull the plug on all of those things, and we would implode as a nation. I mean, I still think that the niche that we are in at the moment of being sort of critical thinkers and open-minded and that sort of thing, we're still pretty much a minority. And I know several people in a small street that I live in that would kill. You know, if you parked in front of their house, they'd kill you. I mean, it's I don't think they'd have a problem turning semi-order that we have at the moment into absolute chaos if they so chose. Yeah, Adam. Any thoughts on that, Brendon?
Yeah, I mean, it's really there's so much critical analysis that goes into the, you know, what are they actually doing right now. I firmly believe that they're slowly leaking out this knowledge to us, because you can, the future of flat Earth is a really good example. The saying that we have is the truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. Just let it out, and it will defend itself. And if you actually go back and think of the model that they created for us, this heliocentric model, which is by the way the most absurd fucking thing you could possibly even imagine. Like when you actually critically analyze this model, it's so absurd, it's laughable. Sometimes when I try to say the model out loud to somebody, like, yeah, you're spinning at this speed, you're going around the galaxy, like I'll just start laughing because like I can't even believe that people actually believe that this is actually happening. And I won't even be able to describe the model because it just comes out, and it's just funny that people actually think it. But you take this model, and they have created something so monstrous. I mean, this is the indoctrination of all indoctrinations right here. They could only hold that for so long. And the problem with that they're having now is that technology is caught up to their lies. So now we have the P900 and the P1000, which is getting released on September 18th, I believe, which is even 125 optical zoom. We're talking a big problem for the elite and their lies. So I feel like they're slowly trying to control this release of truth. Paid agents. I've had somebody now. I'm not going to mention any names right now, but a big flat earther, really big. I mean, way bigger than me. We were talking, and he showed me a conversation he had with somebody, and the person just randomly hit him up. I don't know if this guy didn't know, if his name would be brought up or anything like that, but he apologized for having to give a thumbs down to one of his videos. And his answer was, he's like, "I'm so sorry. I had to feed my kids." I mean, that's just insane. That means people are literally getting paid to troll us. Nobody's getting paid to shut down Bigfoot websites or Bigfoot, Facebook groups, or, nobody's getting, aliens. Nobody's getting paid to shut that stuff down or troll that. The only thing people are actually getting paid for, and I've seen firsthand evidence, is flat Earth. So I think they're slowly releasing this information out. They're controlling it. They're kind of like, they don't know what the fuck to do right now. They're just trying to control it as best they can. And the snowball effect, one thing I'm seeing is I don't think they anticipated it growing this big. I think they thought they had us all down so hard. And once this information came out and it started rolling out, I don't know if they slowly leaked it out, because you can only keep something so stupid as the heliocentric model, you can only keep that alive for so long. You know what I mean? Like, you can literally only, before people go, people wake up and they say, this is fucking virtually impossible. None of the math adds up. None of this adds up, and I think we're just in that control stage, and I just don't think they were anticipating how many people were going to wake up to this. If you go back on YouTube a couple of years ago, Flat Earth was, a couple 100,000 views. Now we're talking millions upon millions upon millions of views. So, I mean, people are waking up. I've rolled through a Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know if you guys have that where you guys are at, but I rolled through a Dunkin' Donuts gas station. Not gas station, but it's like a gas station with a coffee shop. And the lady at the register, and I was like, hey, what do you think about flat Earth? She looks at me and she goes, "Where's the curve?" And she was a flat earther, man. Wow. You know what I mean? So this shit's growing, dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty dope, man. I had no words. I was like, you know what? I gave her the thumbs up, and I was like, you're the shit, and then just kind of drove off. But it was such a eye-opening experience that all the work that we're putting in as flat earthers, there's so many people waking up to this, and it's a beautiful thing to witness.
And I'm in agreement with you on that, almost 100%. I think on the fact that it was a planned release. You've only got to look at NASA and their performance and other things that you can, if NASA has $50 million a day and can make cock-ups that a 5-year-old could see. It's to me it stinks of a controlled release, but like you say, it may well have got out of control a little faster than they thought, and they're backpedaling quite badly now. And the paid agents are having to work a little bit of overtime.
Hey Josh, before we get way too far from the energy weapons and et cetera, did you get that picture I shared there in Skype? Can you show it to everybody? Like I said, I've seen some bizarre towers being put up around for communication. What the hell are these towers?
What the ever loving? I don't know.
I can't see it, but we're maybe looking at like a Gwen Tower. Maybe,
I don't know, dude.
Like
Can you show the chat and the
Yeah,
YouTube audience?
Yeah.
And like I said, these are in Houston. These are not like 5 hours from me.
I do know that these Gwen Towers are going up literally everywhere. I walk on my porch and I can see one like sticking up over the trees. I know those have a lot of patents on them that are energy based, and it.
Can you see
that?
Oh
yeah, that's not a Gwen Tower. I don't know what the fuck that is.
I have no idea, man.
It doesn't look normal.
Yeah,
that's Adam's server. Sorry. Oh, for those who didn't see it earlier, this was IRM. What number is it, Adam?
Oh,
I don't know what. Dead. IRM dead server.
Dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's never a good sign unless there's some sort of rodent in there having a big bliff.
Is that it? Jerry's in there. Fire going up.
Yeah, you'll have to record when you're opening it, and you'll find Gizmo inside there with a big bong.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know what the hell that is. Is that
what
do they claim? What do they claim to be? They're attached to the bridge?
No
are they?
clue. Someone caught them on the road driving, took a picture and sent it to a little Twitter feed I have going.
You know what that looks like? It kind of resembles. I may be off, but if you remember the Tesla, the energy tower.
Yeah, very Tesla feel to it for sure.
It looks Tesla. Yeah, it might be like reverse engineered of his work, which is usually used for bad stuff. But that's all I can think of is that Tesla tower.
And they're connected as well. You see, although with the way I imagine they're spinning them off as modern art or some crap, but there definitely seems to be something more mechanical or operational about them. I'd love to see if anyone gets up close to these
anyone
things.
in the Houston area that has seen these, let us know what you can find out about it.
Well, sure. get a drone and fly to the top and just have a look down inside it, see if it is anything. But yeah, no, quite interesting that.
Yeah, if I pull up that Tesla, I'm pulling it up right now. But it looks very, very, very similar to what Tesla had.
Drop it in the chat and I'll share it again. Seems like I found a job I can actually do.
All right, it's called the Wardenclyffe Tower.
Wardenclyffe Tower, yes.
Look up a Wardenclyffe Tower. That basically what we're looking at looks like a 2018 version of the Wardenclyffe Tower.
Right, they streamlined it a bit, made it nice.
Yeah, that's pretty gnarly. Definitely looks like a more advanced version of whatever that was.
Well, I know early on watching videos, trying to look at some high aerial footage, trying to figure out if this place was really possibly not round or curved or any of that. Early on, I was looking at people climb these high towers to change bulbs and just like literally hanging onto the edge of my seat going, who in the hell, you couldn't pay me enough to do that. And as they're climbing these towers to change these bulbs, all along it are these little weird aerials sticking out in all directions with all these weird coils of wire and spiky looking thing. And my first thought was, these are freaking Tesla devices. They're gathering energy from the air. What the hell?
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. Yep.
Bollocks, lost it.
Oh yeah, there it is. That's the OG one for sure.
Has a very similar look. It's almost like a 2018 version of that.
Interesting. There's the patent, it looks like. It's Tesla reading his book. Okay. Have we lost everyone?
Nope. We are.
No, I was looking at that, digging it.
Definitely, something seems extremely off about those towers. I would definitely like to get. What I'll do is I'll reach out to some members. I know I got a lot of members down in Texas in some of my groups and stuff, and I'll reach out and see if I can get anybody to get down there and get a
That would
closer
be
analysis.
awesome, man. Thank you, man.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
I know that Wardenclyffe Tower actually burned down, and he wanted to build a new one out in New Mexico, and J.P. Morgan cut off his funding. He started it. He said he needed a water reservoir beneath it for some reason. He said he figured out why the first one burned down, and he was going to build another one, and then they cut off his funding, and it's still marked out there. Actually, that's one of the reasons I want to go to New Mexico. I'm going to go see that.
See, there is the thought, isn't there, that all of this lends to the Tesla myth, that he's not necessarily a real character, and that the purpose of him is to hide. Antiquitech, we used all of this kind of technology we're seeing. God knows what it is, but if you go and look at a lot of Mudflawed and Martin Leaker's work, it will talk about this kind of atmospheric energy, the stuff we're seeing in in temples and pyramid powers and all this kind of use of whatever it is.
Cathedrals.
And, so I'm not so sure about Tesla. He fits into the narrative very well.
The thing about Tesla that makes me want to believe him more is there is death records for him and stuff like that, so it's not like somebody like Aristophanes where you put two sticks in the ground and then you look up his life and you can't see nothing about him. Literally, he put two sticks in the ground and proved that the earth was round at that, what I mean? So if you look at a story like that, it nothing of it adds up. And Tesla, the reason why something about Tesla is really appealing to me is that when you went to high school, I don't know, what your public education is, but it's probably the same Masonic Jesuit type teachings that we were taught, but nobody ever mentioned Tesla. I only knew of him because of some things on TV. Every once in a while, you'd hear a little bit about Nikola Tesla, and but the fact that they kept him out of the textbooks either shows that he either never existed or he was the real deal. So
I would suggest there's layers of discovery. If you follow the Masons, there's lots of layers and I think particularly with what they're trying to hide, I'm not suggesting he's totally fictional. I'm suggesting there's a great deal of control about what he did do, who he was. The narrative seems very, and the amount of data that there is about him and confirmation, etc. There are deaths, etc. But the overall data is limited pretty much to text. Do you know what I mean? So I just think his narrative, whatever the truth may be, is very controlled and limited in what we truly do know, because I think his purpose is hiding a much bigger technology that they've hidden from us.
Well, when you were saying that about the controlled education we all received and never having heard of him until either doing your own research or sometime after school, as much research as I had done into just weird esoteric areas, had never heard of him until a convention, Project Awareness UFO convention. Someone had a little pamphlet they had put together on information they had sussed out maybe early internet days, maybe even pre-internet days. But yeah, that's where I found out about him. So interesting place to find out about this man who supposedly might not be real. Interesting. Very.
Zach and I were just sitting here talking. If we were even taught about Tesla back in school, I think I do vaguely remember at least, a little snippet in a paragraph in a chapter somewhere of this sort of friendly little rivalry between Edison,
yep,
AC/DC, and this whole competition. But as it turns out, for whatever reason, Edison won. So that's just the way history goes. On to chapter 2.
Yeah, probably. If anything, that would be about it. Exactly.
But it does. I was looking at that Wardenclyffe Tower, and it reminds me of that. When Zach said that they had to move it because he needed that water underneath it and that water table, and something triggered in my brain about the Great Pyramid at Giza, and there being a huge water table underneath there, and a huge similarity. I do remember maybe 10 or 12 years ago talking to some guy who was supposed to be writing a book about how that's all the Great Pyramid of Giza was just this huge generator generating electricity. So, yep, I completely believe all of it just because we were taught so little of it in school.
Yeah, I'm a Tesla fan. I'm not gonna lie. I honestly, I do believe he existed, and you show him being killed, or not. It doesn't show it, but you read about him being killed and stuff, and it makes sense. It even boils down. You can go to the molecular level. Like so many people have invented cars that run on water. Like that design has been around forever, but the guy who designed it and was gonna mass produce it was killed. It's kind of a very similar story to Tesla. That anything that threatens the corporations, and there's only like 6 corporations or 6 to 9 or so, that run the entire world. Every product you buy, from Kraft macaroni and cheese to General Electric to Coca-Cola.
I think it's 6. I'm pretty sure last time I saw the number, it was 6.
Yeah, it's like 6 or something like that. So they I mean, if you boil it down, you threaten if you put any threat towards them, look at what it takes to get something to help a disease pass through the Food and Drug Administration. You're talking millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. I think it's like $180 million or something like that. I'm not too sure, but it's a ridiculous amount just to get it like through a certain stage. They make it fucking impossible, and then if you try to sue them or if you try to go against them, a lot of people end up dead, and there's a reason for that, because you're threatening their control, and when you threaten somebody's control, man naturally wants control, and it's sad that our whole world has been taken over by that power, but
can't threaten the dinosaur bone juice, man. Can't threaten the dinosaur bone juice.
I
Just
don't know
real quick,
why.
shout out to Alan Holman. I saw there in chat. He was our guest this morning on our TFR show. And again, it was an amazing show. If you guys aren't aware of who we have with us right now, if you're late coming in, give everybody your channel again. Your Facebook group again, please, Brendon.
It's the Future of Flat Earth. It's on Facebook. Just join. And even if you're unsure about the questions, if you're not there to troll or, be a dick per se, just say I sent you. Just say Brendon Daley sent you. So the Future of Flat Earth. And you can also find a lot of my videos on therealnewsonline.com, which is with Brian Stavely.
Was it. Thank you for that one again. I was trying to find it earlier.
Yep. That's really hardcore. I mean, that shit gets into like a lot of the stuff on the Real News Online makes like even truthers like go, what? Oh shit! This rabbit hole is a lot deeper than I thought it was. So like 9/11.
I love deep holes.
9/11, they no planes. No planes hit the tower. It was all CG. So they get into some really serious stuff over there. Find some of the stuff over there. But you can find me at the Future Flat Earth, and then you can also just send me a friend request on Facebook. I might have a couple spots open. Hit me up on Messenger. I'm always down to talk to anybody that's just really willing to learn, because waking up one person is no different than waking up a million. That's the way I view it. If I can get one person awake, it's no different than standing in front of a million people and waking all them up. So definitely hit me up if anybody wants to chat or anything like that.
Can I ask a question about the Facebook stuff? Because John alluded earlier, I don't do Facebook. We've kind of had a feel for how it's grown, Flat Earth, on YouTube. How is it over there? Is it as aggressive in places as it is on YouTube, with like Nathan's channel, and the way the ballers are behaving? Is it exploding in a way? I don't know.
It's a war zone. It really is. It's a war zone for truth. There's no other way to put it. A lot of groups are completely controlled opposition. If people look up Flat Earth on Facebook, they'll see the Flat Earth Society as one of the main things, but we all know that that's controlled opposition. And then you see a lot of these debate groups popping up, and it's literally just a bunch of trolls that try to lure flat earthers in just so they can just like, troll them. It's a horrible thing. And that's why the Future of Flat Earth is like a really special group, is that people can come there without that fear of being attacked, because on Facebook, just like I'm sure on YouTube, there's a lot of attacks and a lot of, I've had death threats, and you brought up Nathan. I'm assuming you're talking about Nathan Thompson.
No, Nathan Oakley.
Oh, Nathan Oakley. Okay, I thought you were talking about Nathan Thompson. He has the official Flat Earth and Globe discussion group, which is the largest Facebook group in the world for Flat Earth, and I think they're pushing 125,000 members now or something like that. Yeah, Nathan's a good friend of mine. He traveled. He traveled. He stayed at my house a couple times, but he's putting out a lot of good work and stuff. But that's definitely, if you want to debate Flat Earth, that's where you want to go. Is the official Flat Earth and Globe discussion group. That group is mainly for discussing the topic of Flat Earth and in debating it. There's no swearing allowed. There's no, it's a very, very controlled, like not controlled in a bad way, but it's people try to, the moderators and admins really try to keep that group very proper as far as, because there's no other way to do it when you're debating Flat Earth. You need to be, you can't have swears. You can't have, because people lose their friggin' minds, and Nathan's a good friend of mine, and him, like myself, I've received death threats. I've had people tell me that they were flying into New Hampshire to come and kill me, over Flat Earth. And I'm like, it's ridiculous. But yeah, it's a war zone. So when you bring up Facebook and Flat Earth, it's a great way to get information out, but it's also like the prime zone for trolls and paid agents. And, so it's tough. It's definitely tough on Facebook to talk about Flat Earth for sure.
Well, it's interesting you brought up and mentioned the infamous and forerunning Flat Earth Society. I shared a story earlier with a group in chat. Apparently, according to livescience.com, we can all relax because Flat Earthers do not reject climate science. The official Flat Earth Society webpage, or is it there? No, it's their Twitter page, definitely are right behind climate change science. They were asked, real question, do you guys believe in climate change? And the Flat Earth Society, blue check, Flat Earth Org, certainly. It would be nothing short of irresponsible to question something with so much overwhelming evidence behind it and something that threatens us so directly as a species. So, thank goodness they're not that crazy over there. If you can't get more bullshit than that, I don't even know what there is. If this doesn't point out how controlled they are and how much bullshit they are, I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely controlled. They actually pump that model. Like if you've never heard about Flat Earth, you immediately think of like a disc floating in space, and like there's all the other planets around and stuff. And no Flat Earther believes in that shit, But they pump this model that things fall down because this disc is flying upwards through space. So that's what gives you your up from down instead of like an electromagnetic field being your force. It just has like this disc that we're all been thought of, that we all thought of when we were younger or taught to believe is just shooting upwards so fast that things just come down on it. Like the group's a fucking joke, and the whole Flat Earth Society, I don't like to swear too much, but I would definitely give a big fuck you to all of them over at the Flat Earth Society. Anybody that has anything to do with that group, I give a big fuck you to them. So 100% definitely disinformation that's being pumped by them.
I do like the way they lump in this word climate change, though. In technically, climate changes. So yeah, I agree, climate change, but that's not what they're talking. They're talking about AGW, which is man-made climate change, I presume. Anyway, I don't know, because the devil's in the detail, isn't it? They're so vague. These terms are just so bloody vague all the time that. You're anti-vax. It's like, no, I don't. I wouldn't vaccinate because I've done some research. I'm not anti-vax. I'm pro-choice. There's so much in the detail of words, and as Crow 777 says all the time, words have meaning.
Yeah, that's a really, really, really good way to put it. Because a lot of people, even the iHeartRadio, I don't know if it was in the live clip that you guys saw, but there was a point where he goes, yeah, and and I have two babies in diapers. I can hear them both in a 2 rooms down, playing and crying and stuff. And he had to bring up, yeah, I bet you're anti-vax too. Like they lumped it in with flat Earth and stuff. And it's not that I'm anti-vax. It's just that I'm pro-choice for a lot of things, and I'm also pro-research. Like get up there and see what mainstream is burying. Because if I ask you guys, name one thing that mainstream science has ever discovered, like this mainstream, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye bullshit. Name one thing that anything has ever been discovered by them. Nothing. There's nothing. There's literally nothing. It was always somebody in a garage or somebody like, just some random person who came up with a great discovery, who was open-minded and free-minded. And as far as mainstream, which is what everybody follows, if you look at a lot of them, they're just all actors, man. They're all actors, and it's so obvious.
It's so bad and sad. I've seen a meme going around that showed that Dolph Lundgren has more authority to call himself a scientist than Bill Nye because of his degrees.
Yep. Dolph Lundgren, he's got smart dude, and I saw that meme like about a half a year ago, and it just shows you. The one thing I don't want to discredit is they'll be like, oh, Bill Nye is not a scientist because he doesn't do experiment or he doesn't have this background. Like the guy's an engineer. He's not stupid. He's just a fucking actor.
Right. He built a little curved thing to show the ship going over the horizon. I've seen it. He's a technical dude.
Yeah, he's just an actor, you know what I mean? Who's smart, he's or educated. I don't want to say smart, but he's getting paid to do what he does, So it is what it is. But as far as like the term scientist, like if he's ever gone out and done an experiment, he's a fucking scientist. People lump this term scientist in with like some sort of like master's degree in something. But when you look at actual scientists and you take mainstream out of it, you look back and you say, okay, that guy didn't have a degree, but he discovered this. If you're out there and you're doing it, you're testing curvature, you're doing time lapses of the cosmic microwave background of stars. If you're doing all these cool things, you're a fucking scientist, man. Be proud of that. Hold your chin up. You know what I mean? Like you're a scientist. So I don't want to discredit Bill Nye as not being a scientist. I just want everybody to know he's a fucking actor. You know what I mean? He could be a scientist. He's run experiments. You know what I mean? But as far as that, he's just an actor.
Yeah, there can be a scientist, but you can also be a sellout. And a compromised sellout, possibly, and or just talking shit. Just because you're a scientist doesn't mean you know everything. But yeah, we're all scientists if we choose to be.
Yep, exactly. If you look up, it's a funny video. You guys could probably pull it up right now, but it's Bill Nye like doing comedy. So he literally tried to come on as an actor, like his beginning stages. This is old video of him doing stand-up comedy, and it's so
really
fucking
bad.
Oh, it's so bad.
Oh, it's horrible.
So bad. And to think that they would just, you know what I mean? This guy is just so pathetic. And you watch his comedy, and it's like, all right, so this guy's an entertainer, and he got into the film industry or the Hollywood and became Bill Nye the Science Guy. But in reality, he's just an engineer pumping fucking lies.
And if I'm not wrong, didn't Disney actually hire him because he looked like a nerdy white guy in a lab coat with a bow tie to become Bill Nye the Science Guy?
I don't know. I can't confirm that, but I'm not fucking surprised if that's true.
I know he was trying to do something up in Seattle, I believe, on some Seattle. He was trying to be a comedian on almost like a Saturday Night Live type show.
What else would you try and be if you look like Bill Nye? It's easy for me to say when I keep my face
It's probably like
anonymous.
his Pee Wee Herman character. He created it and then couldn't get out of it. He's stuck in it for life.
Yeah. Probably like that. We're probably all talking about the same video, but for all the listeners out there, like, go and just Google like Bill Nye doing stand-up comedy. There's not many videos out there, and I think the one that we're all talking about may be the only one, and it just exposes the guy. He's a fraud, 100% fraud.
The thing is, he might be a fraud, a sellout, all the rest of it, but the problem I see is that he's actually quite dangerous in terms of he has gullible followers by the millions. He's talking about things like people who deny climate, whatever the hell that means, should be in jail, or I think he said even more harsh things than that. But
yeah, he's been a dick, real dick.
I think he's dangerous as well.
I mean, he's a tool of the elite. We have to kind of look at all of them as dangerous, and I just kind of view him as a dumb voice for them. I think they could have picked smarter people with all the money and power they have. But there's a nerdy kid that works at the convenience store right across the street from my house, and where I'll walk in and be like, "The Earth is round," because I'm always flat earthing him, you know what I mean? But this kid refused to believe it. But he's one of those nerdy kids, always had his faith in science, and he doesn't even like Bill Nye. He goes, nah, he's fake, man. I can tell. But he likes Neil deGrasse Tyson at the same time. You know what I mean? So Bill Nye, even people that watch his videos, like even those people that have that cognitive dissonance, they still can see that this guy's friggin' bullshit. Even some of them can. That just shows you how pathetic the dude is.
He reminds me of the chemtrail guy. What's his name? Keith something or something Keith. Again, you'd look at them and you just sort of dismiss them as nerdy geeks, or people, or someone who's trying to be amusing by wearing a bow tie and all this sort of thing. But it's these people that I see sociopaths and danger. Will Robinson.
Yeah, do you try a couple minutes of this Bill Nye stand-up routine?
I don't know, copyright strike.
Well, we've already discussed it, so haven't we critically analysed it already? Isn't it only fair to give Bill the benefit of the doubt by paying it? No,
right.
Don't take any advice from me, mate.
We're not going to watch 10 minutes of it, and I've got an idea that may or may not work. We'll just see.
It's bad. That's all I can say. It's very bad.
On the cover of People magazine. He really was. And we're glad to have him here. He's a friend of mine. He's a comedian, and I watched him perform for several years. I think you'll enjoy him. Put your hands together. Welcome, Bill Nye.
My name is Bill. As Matt explained, my name is Bill. It's television. I really can't hear you. It's like, it just reminds me of a singles bar. We go and say, hi, my name is Bill. I work in an office. Yeah, I have a job and drive a car. Do you want to go home with me? My name is Bill. My name is Bill. Great. Once in a while, you meet the Bob Who people. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, we don't. I'll explain it to you. So we go in and you say, my name is Bill. She says, my name is Karen. That's nice. Where are you from? I'm from Seattle. And then she says, oh, you're from Seattle. Do you know Bob? So then I always like to go and say, yeah, Bob who? Bob, get it? Joke. Oh, well.
So bad.
Oh, dear.
See.
Where's that candy stick pulling his neck crane?
Watching Group W because you could be watching something else and you could be seeing like West Side Stories on tonight. Just to help you, I will do.
That is ridiculously bad. The only thing
that's horrible
about this is the silence. Dead.
In fact, you made it funnier than it should have been. Just
I know, right?
With the sound.
Well, hopefully that'll avoid a copyright.
But it still bombed, even with the funny sound. It was bombing bad. Oh my! Whew.
Yeah, good effort there, Josh.
Yeah, great work, man. On the fly, 2 different noises. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I think if you hadn't hidden it, Josh, my toes would have curled completely off. It was pretty cringeworthy, that.
It just strikes me as a desperate person who is willing to do anything for fame, fortune.
Wonderful point.
Well, it's a script he's reading, though, isn't it? I mean, that's the reality. He's just there clearly isn't a great deal there, and he is just exactly as he's advertised online. You know, an actor. He's not a scientist. He is just reading a narrative that's put before him.
And I think they picked him because he is also a very good liar. Like when he does his live walk around interviews with people and they ask him questions, he's very good at diverting questions to different topics real quick, or just dismissing things and roll. He's a very good. He's like Neil deGrasse Tyson. They don't have
It's
to
hard
argue.
to put them in a corner.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
slippery
They
as
don't
hell.
have to argue the science. They're very good at just talking.
Yep. Well, you can pull up I don't know if you can pull this video up, but there's a video of Bill Nye, and in like a lot of the Freemasons and stuff, like they want to put like the truth in hidden plains, like it's hidden in plain sight. You know, the numbers, and you know, we're orbiting at 66.6 thousand miles in this elliptical orbit around the sun. There's always these numbers and stuff. So their whole thing is like putting truth out there, but like blindly laughing at us, like believing it, you know. And there's a video of Bill Nye, and he goes, there's one thing I now I'm paraphrasing, but he goes, there's one thing I want your generation to embrace, is that you can't leave the earth. We are in an enclosed system where there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go. And it was almost like him saying, like, that was like his loins just coming out and just be like, you motherfuckers cannot leave here. All right. Like, all right, I got that out of the way. All right. Did you guys hear me now? Or, you know, so there's that video of him, and that right there just shows you that even the highest paid actors, like even at certain times, because if you look up his net worth, I think Bill Nye is worth like $7 or $8 million for all the bullshit he's done.
Wow.
And
cheap.
If I yeah, I know, right? If I was in his position, I would want to just blurt it out a little bit, just get some truth out there. And there was this one video where he's like, you can't go anywhere. There's nowhere to go.
I was watching that a couple of days ago, or a day or two ago, I think. And he does say it, but I mean, he'll just come out and say, yeah, well, I was just doing stand up, wasn't I?
Yeah,
it's just like slap. But yeah, I mean, they do come out and say it. They don't. I mean, Buzz. Listening back now to what Buzz said to that 8-year-old girl, I do now think he was saying we never went there. That's why we never went back. We never went there. Initially, I was around some skeptics, and they were saying no. He's just saying that they never went back. And I thought, okay, yeah, I can see how he may be saying that, but now looking at it again a few times, I think, like you say, I think sometimes they've just got to blurt it out, haven't they?
Hey, John. So you've seen it a few times, right? So Buzz is out there pushing this Mars thing, right? So part of his spiel that he gives for his Mars thing is, well, why haven't we been back to the moon, right? So when this little girl asks that question, that's his question, right? That's that's his question from his spiel. So he spends the next 60 seconds fucking rambling off. I don't know what the fuck he's trying to rephrase his question while including her exact same question, and he's starting to confuse himself. And then at the very end, he just answers the question. He just answers it. Money. Money. I've never been back to the fucking moon.
Now, give me my money. I'm out of here. And don't let me get interviewed by 8-year-old kids again.
I still don't think he was blurting anything out. I think he was confused because that's his fucking question. What are you doing with my spiel? This is my gag, little girl. Don't try to upstage me.
Very well could have been. Yeah, absolutely. But
well, that's like when people show that video of him next to Trump making all the faces and all that, and their whole body language says everything. Yeah, it says he's barely got a bulb left burning in that White House up there. That's all I see is just a sad burnout drunk.
I just can't see how he's allowed to do public appearances anymore.
Well, if you actually notice, he actually has somebody that follows him around, and there's an interview where they're asking him questions, and you can see the guy that's like next to him, like kind of nudging him, like, you fucking better be on your point right now because these questions are important. And it's almost like he has this paid dude that just kind of caters him around like he's in like some insane asylum or something. And I'll try and find that video and I'll send it over to you guys. But yeah, it's definitely like you can see the guy next to him like looking at him like, dude, you better say the right shit right now. So there's probably people that are around him, like kind of like Stephen Hawking, you know what I mean? Like when he died or they shut him off or however it happened, like imagine like the staff that was like relieved of their duties at that point. That's the way I look at it. Like there's probably like 100 people not working right now because Stephen Hawking died because they were all just following him around, just protecting him the whole time, you know? But it's very similar to that.
It's like kind of like the shadowy guy in Willy Wonka, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's just sort of comes up and speaks to everyone, whispers in their ear, and just says, "Say the right thing, or your kids are dead," or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we've been going for an hour 40, and I think it's probably time for a wee break. Are we up for that?
And a wee break.
Definitely need to take a wee.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think we had Stephen Hawking talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson being quoted as having said this. Oh, look, you're going to jump right to something I didn't even play. So there's always that.
There is that. I mean, if that doesn't sum it up, I don't know.
All right, well, let me dig up gravity. So, Walter, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about the show we had this morning, and Phil, while I pull up our gravity song.
We did a show this morning at TFR. If you guys don't know, we hang out on Tuesday mornings and Friday mornings, and sometimes we have amazing guests. This morning we were lucky enough to have Alan Holman. He has a channel. You should go check it out. He wrote a book some years ago about cures for cancer while he was helping his father through a cancer, and him reading the book, the information is amazing. He also covers some topics, kind of like what you were saying earlier. You name a rabbit hole, and I think we went down it for at least a few minutes this morning.
I got the last half hour of that show to go, but I've downloaded the file, so...
yeah, it was something else, man. I can't wait
I'm gonna
to get Alan back on. So he was in chat earlier, so shout out Alan if you're still around. Thank you so much for being on this morning. We appreciate the hell out of it. It was a great show. And again, it's one I'm going to be downloading to put up on I'll put it up here and on my YouTube channel over on Flat Earth Head, so people will be able to hear some of it there.
Sadly, your download, Adam's probably gone up in smoke.
Yeah, probably he might be looking to go get that again.
Maybe that's why.
Right, too much information in that show this morning. We took out the Iron Rail hard drive.
Luckily, did it on my phone and up to the Google Drive, so it's
careful.
Don't sleep with that phone near you.
Yeah, right?
no, just shit's blowing up around me.
But certainly, yes, definitely go check it out. And also, his website, man, it's not in front of me now, and it's different and it's hard to remember. I know I had it. I will find it again. Give me... Nope, that's not where it is. Josh, are you hearing me? Do you remember what it was offhand? Man, no, he's not. He's not helping me at all. And I don't have anything open that would have it.
Banana.
I know something with a banana. I do remember the banana. Damn it.
I think Josh is busy cutting that LP.
I'll find Telegram, and on Telegram there'll be a secret. I'll know it there. I'll probably be able to find a link to the show from this morning, actually, at that point. It was called... Oh, come on, man. Where is the link? Dun, dun, dun. That's not it. That's my way too long description from the show this morning that I had way too long. bananachan.neocities.org. bananachan.neocities.org. There's quite a lot of interesting entertainment to be had on his website, so definitely go check that out as well.
Catchy name.
And that was a long intro or description. It was more like a transcript.
And this is
Well,
this is a hell of a film.
We had an amazing. Our buddy Salamo showed up. He hasn't been around for some time. He was around a lot. He was sharing a blog that he has on Blogspot. Really great stuff. I'll find that link too in a second. But when Josh read this morning for us, it touched everybody. It said a lot, and we're only allowed to put one link for some reason on our description. So since we were going to link Alan's site, I wanted to include the whole little thing. It was just too much. I had to put it. It was too much not to put. Go read it. It's in the description there. When you have a minute, it's if you have kids, it's gonna get to you. Really great stuff, Salamo. Shout out for that as well. Salamo at blogspot.com, is that right? Or am I blowing that too?
No, I nailed that one.
Okay.
Right, so you got Cheyenne in studio now, all tuned up and ready to go?
Is she sitting next to you too, right there?
He's just flown her in.
Brendon Boston accent that makes me just want to say crude things. I don't know. Nope, I don't have her in studio. She's not here, but I do have the video queued up.
Play the video, Josh.
All right. So we'll just go ahead and take a little break.
And we'll be right back, everybody. Please hang out and enjoy the music.